All right, kids, we're going to begin the broadcast in just a moment. Because I'm back on Facebook. But I won't be for long. If you tell all your friends about it, it would be awesome. I'm just going to share on a couple pages real quick. Here we go. All right, let's get this going in 3, 2, 1. And here we are. It is a Sunday morning is when I'm actually live, and you'll see this obviously on Rumble, some other channels here very shortly. But welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. A big weekend and a big night for Donald Trump. We'll get to that in just 1 second. That's pretty cool. I want to just mention this T-shirts up here. Ooh, look at all these shirts. We got some new ones. Cancel Fox News. Super Spreader says gypped instead of GIF. America Supremacist Fake News Channel. Party Like It's 1776. All of those are available. tpublic.com/conservatees. It is a hair hat day because, it's a Sunday morning. Got out of bed, went to the gym, and, just kind of chilled. So it's been a really nice Sunday morning. And David D. Nelson says, Trumpster lost. Get over it. David, you are an idiot, first of all, and I'm blocking you. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye, David. Bye-bye, David. He's a high school classmate, and he's obviously confused. Oh, and real quick, just David, I don't want to be vitriolic or anything, but, honestly, if the shoe were on the other foot, you'd be going, dear God, really? Your candidate got his ass handed to him, and you know that he cheated. You know that the Democrat Party cheated. You know your candidate sucks, okay? You know your dismal, old, swamp-dwelling, senile candidate lost. You know it in your heart and soul, but you know that it's no big deal for them to steal because that's the only way you can win. That's what Democrats do. David, I know you're not stupid enough to believe that there wasn't stealing going on by the Democrat Party. And if you are a Democrat and you don't believe that, you are fooling yourself or you're out and out lying. Okay? Okay. Here is the president from last night talking about the election being stolen.
Must go vote and vote early starting December 14th. You have to do it. They cheated and they rigged our presidential election, but we will still win it. We will still win it.
Come on, baby.
Win it. And they're going to try and rig this election, too.
Four more years, David. Do you hear that? 4 more years. And stop the steal. Now, let me just give you some statistics. This is in the state of Georgia, and this has actually been confirmed by voter rolls. I want you to listen to this. This is just in Georgia, okay? 2,056 felons illegally voted. This is factual. 66,248 under 18 ineligible voters voted. 2,423 weren't registered at all. Okay? 1,043 used a P.O. box. Okay, that's illegal. You can't do that. 4,926 voted past the regular date. That's illegal too. They need to be thrown out. This is all, by the way, in the voter rolls. There's no denying this. It happened. 10,315 died before the election and weren't able to vote, but were obviously registered and voted anyway by somebody else, a Democrat like David. 395 voted in 2 states. This is all factual information. This is just Georgia. 15,000 moved out of the state. 40,279 changed county and didn't re-register to vote. All of those votes, about 70, 80,000 of them, which would give Trump the margin of victory most probably. That was just a fraction of it. And then there's the Dominion voting machines that they're finding. And by the way, I believe it's in the state of Arizona. They have impounded 22 of the machines to see how they changed votes from Biden to Donald Trump. And you know in your heart, Democrats, you know, and you're just cool with it. You know that your candidate cheated. You know that the Democrat Party is filthy. You know it. You're not so separated from common sense. But what you are separated from is common decency. That's your problem. You are not so separated from common sense that you wouldn't see the obvious voter fraud that's going across the country, particularly the 5 states that stopped counting at around midnight Eastern Standard Time at the same time, including in Georgia, where they said there was a pipe burst or a main break, and it didn't happen. There was barely a leaky toilet. All right? So you are not so separated from common sense, but Democrats are separated from common decency. And at this point, because you know your candidate sucked. I mean, your candidate sucked. And I said this months and months ago. The Democrat Party knew that Joe Biden had lost the election, and they put into works the steal. They had the USPS, as we heard from the truck driver who drove 380,000 ballots from New York to Pennsylvania on the 21st of October. We've heard countless stories of truckloads of ballots showing up after the five swing states shut down their polling, and then spikes at about 3 or 4 in the morning with ungodly high numbers of votes for Joe Biden to the tune of 570,000 in Pennsylvania and 3,200 to Donald Trump. You are not so separated from common sense, but you are separated from common decency. And if you can't win by cheating, without cheating, you should just give up, blow up your party, and start over again. And look at yourself. Look inside yourself and say, I'm really cool with abortion up to the point of birth. I'm really cool with taxing people into oblivion. I'm really cool with not passing a stimulus bill to help people who have been put out of business because of stupid COVID policies until Joe Biden becomes the president. I mean, you need to look inside yourself and go, what have I wrought? What have I thought? I am a follower of the party of slavery and Jim Crow, a party that has presided over the decline of the inner city and the black family. I could go on and on and on. You need to blow up your party. You really need to think where you are morally before you start saying, my candidate won and you lost. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good little rave there. It's kind of like if the dad on the Brady Bunch was hyped on caffeine, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Chuck. How are you in Kansas City? Felix, my friend. Felix, by the way, won the spectacular prize package that I gave away last month, and I'm giving away this month if you become a subscriber on rumble.com, which has gone through the ceiling. We got 12,000 subscribers so far. Only about 600,000 more to go. Okay? So rumble.com, Rob Carson Show, rumble.com, Rob Carson Show. Let me make my logo smaller. Step in the cold water. Rumble.com, Rob Carson Show, youtube.com, Rob Carson Show. Sign up there. And one lucky winner is going to get a freezer full of Wagyu beef from Hassel Cattle Company in Tejas and a Pit Barrel Classic cooker, just like Ryan there and just like my friend Felix, who is watching right now, and his lovely wife. Hello. 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 All right. Let's move on. A little bit more of the Trumpster from last night, and this is actually about it's a longer clip, and I'll chime in. This was on the UK Daily Mail, and it says that Trump is denying reality. Okay, but just watch.
Vote and vote early, starting December 14th. You have to do it.
Let's start over. Hold on.
Just so you understand.
All right, here we go.
And we won Florida, and we won a lot of places. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
That doesn't sound like a crowd that thinks this president lost.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. No, we won a lot of places. We won Florida. We won Ohio. Big. We won them big. Remember, we were going to lose Florida, they said.
They said that he was going to lose and literally a couple days before the election in Wisconsin, he was going to lose by 17%. And he made a good point yesterday about Wisconsin and how they did suppression polling to stop you from voting. And you know what? It didn't stop us. And I would venture to say at least 80 million plus people voted for Donald Trump. 80 million people did not vote for Joe Biden. Again, you have separated yourself from common sense. Or you have not. If you have common sense, I should say, as a Democrat, and most of you probably don't, but you apparently have separated yourself from common decency, because anything that I share here, like the statistics I just shared at the beginning, are undeniable. and you can plug your ears and you can hum and you can do all that stuff. And you can go watch your MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, Fox News, read your Wall Street Journal, read your New York Times. But sooner or later, that common sense thing is going to get in there, and you're going to go, and then you're just going to go, I'm just going to go ahead and say that Joe Biden cheated, and I'm fine with it. Because that's what you're saying, Democrats. Joe Biden cheated. He's a terrible candidate. But we hate Donald Trump, and he lost, and we cheated, and that's fine.
We were 5 down in Florida. We won by a lot. We were way down in Ohio, and we won by a lot.
Oh, yeah, and he had rallies with 15, 20, 25, 30, 35,000 people. 5 in one day toward the end of the election, and 10 people would show up for Joe Biden.
We're gathered here tonight to ensure, a very important word, ensure, because these are two great...
Which, by the way, is something that Joe Biden has every morning, an ensure shake.
Great people.
Right before he has his diaper changed.
People that I know so well and respected by everybody.
Oops, I made a poopy.
Everybody in Washington and beyond. That David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler...
Now I got to get out of the shower and pull my dog's tail and break my foot.
Win the most important congressional runoff probably in
Pulling his dog's tail. Right.
American history. I
I
really
think he's pulling something else in the shower.
believe that. I think it's an American...
Still works.
There's never been a time like this
Talking about his finger. Get your mind out of the gutter.
where you have two at one time. At least you have two beauties.
Cobra.
And you know what? You also have two beauties running against them, but beauty in a different way. They're two beauties. But there's never been a case where a state has had this prominence on Senate races because they're never together. And this is something that's very important, and you have to get out and you have to vote. You have to make sure you have every vote counted. Every vote has to count.
Thank you.
You got to make sure they don't throw away any ballots. You got to make sure that when they collect the ballots and they start bragging about how many ballots they already have, you got to make sure your Secretary of State knows what the hell he's doing.
I love that.
And you got to make sure your governor gets a lot tougher than he's been. He's got to get a lot tougher.
Lisa thinks I'm funny. That's because I have the sense of humor of a 14-year-old boy.
Because at stake in this election is control of the U.S. Senate, and that really means control of this country. The voters of Georgia will determine which party runs every committee, writes every piece of legislation, controls every single taxpayer dollar. Very simply, you will decide whether your children will grow up in a socialist country or whether they will grow up in a free country. And I will tell you this.
I'm not going quietly into the night. I'm not going anywhere.
Socialist is just the beginning for these people. These people want to go further than socialism. They want to go into a communistic form of government, and I have no doubt about it.
They do. They absolutely do.
Somehow that doesn't suit Georgia too well. That doesn't work too well, I think, Kelly in Georgia, does it? Huh?
No, it doesn't.
David and Kelly are running against radical John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock.
I think John Ossoff's dad was Jack Ossoff. I think wasn't it Jack Ossoff? Yeah, John Ossoff and Jack Ossoff. Yeah. Jack Ossoff.
Ossoff and Warnock are the two most extreme, far-left, liberal Senate candidates in the history of our country. And you got them both at one time. How did that happen? I think you both got lucky, but we'll see.
All right, here is the president on, if he actually lost for real, and again, if you have a modicum of common sense, you would see the shenanigans. And I want you to think about this also. A couple weeks ago, the media was hounding the president for no reason. Why would they hound the president about, will you leave the White House if you lose? Will you leave the White House, et cetera? Remember that? Remember that whole thing? They were going, will you leave peacefully? Will you accept the defeat? All this. They didn't ask Joe Biden anything like that. They didn't. They're all in it, guys. They're all in it. The mainstream media, they know it. They know it. They're avoiding it. They avoided the Hunter Biden laptop story. Big social media, they're in it. They're in it too. Facebook banned me the day after the election. All of my pages, even my cooking page and my personal page about my family, I couldn't even write my mom. They did it the day after the election for no reason. I hadn't even done any posts. I put my post up and they banned me that morning. They banned me that morning and they restricted my reach. I was reaching 100,000 people a week. And I'm down to like reaching a couple hundred, but you know what? I got a show on Parler. My show is featured on rumble.com and it's blowing up. It's blowing up. It's massive. My show on Newsmax is growing dramatically. I got so many fan notes last night. I couldn't keep up with them all. And I just got a weekend show. There it is. Newsmax, make it bigger. I have a weekend show and it's gone insane. So F you Facebook, F you Twitter, F you YouTube. I'm going to post stuff, but you can't take away my freedom of expression because right now, thank God, Parler came around to save freedom of expression for conservatives. They did. Can you imagine if Parler didn't exist or Rumble didn't exist as an alternative to YouTube? I've had YouTube videos taken down. We've seen people banned from YouTube all over the place for having conservative views. And if you disagree with the WHO on coronavirus, you will have videos taken down. You will be posted as telling untruths, even though you are telling the truth, but it doesn't meet their truth standard, which is determined by their left-leaning boards. I used to believe it was an algorithm. It's not an algorithm. On Facebook, it's not an algorithm at a certain point. Because I was reaching 100,000 people and they shut me down the day after the election. That's not an algorithm. That's somebody going, shut him down the day after the election. He's reaching too many people. Same way with Twitter. They're flagging the president all over the place. All over the place. All of the things that he said in last night's speech, if it's posted on Twitter, will have a flag on it. But there's a point where you don't believe them anymore. There's a point when you're sitting in North Korea and you watch that nightly news with the same person spouting the party line that in the back of your head. But in North Korea, if you think differently, you'll die. But there's a point in a free country where you sit there and go, I don't think they're telling me the truth. I think they're hiding things from me. And some people will go quietly into the night, and some people will get on those train cars, and some people will not go to church, and some people will let their business go out of business, and some people will be happy with their kids distant learning and getting terribly depressed and ultimately trying to commit suicide or succeeding. But I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there. So it is a wonderful thing that Parler and MAGA Book and Rumble are around, and I just signed up for MeWe, whatever the hell that is. Facebook, you don't have the thought control you used to. We know it now. We know that Mark Zuckerberg gave $400 million, matched by federal funds, almost $1 billion, to get out the vote in these swing states, to fund massively leftist-leaning organizations. They funded the cheat. They funded the steal. I hope Facebook crashes and burns. I hope the same goes for Twitter, and it is, by the way, and the same goes for YouTube. F them all. And then after Donald Trump is sworn in again, January the 20th, let's hope that they fall like dominoes. ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, MSN, the New York Times. They all fall like dominoes because we just don't effing believe you anymore. And there are too many other ways. It's like, wasn't it the allegory of the cave? Plato's allegory of the cave, and the person in the cave only saw was the shadow of the outside world on the wall. That's all they ever saw. Well, we're coming out of the cave. We're coming out of the cave. You lose. You lose. Here's the president talking about how he would be a gracious loser if he actually believed he lost. And by the way, 80 million others, probably more, believe that he didn't lose. Yeah.
And I have to say, if I lost, I'd be a very gracious loser. If I lost, I would say I lost, and I'd go to Florida, and I'd take it easy, and I'd go around, and I'd say I did a good job. But you can't ever accept when they steal and rig.
Let me ask you this, okay? So this man is 74 years old. He could just simply leave, fly around on his jet, live in his luxurious mansions, look at his absolutely stunning and wonderful wife. Why does he do this? He's lost $1 billion. Why does he do this? I mean, at one point, originally, you're thinking it's all about Donald Trump. It's all about his ego and all this. It's not. This man cares about the country. He cares about the country as founded, and he sees that we're being railroaded. And for the last 4 years, he's been pummeled into the ground by people. They attempted to impeach him. They tried to pin a Russian collusion hoax on him, and every day he's taken a pummeling in the media like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I get butthurt when I get a couple bad comments on like from David Dean Nelson, the idiot who opened my show today. I get a little hurt by that. But this guy's taking it every day for us. For us, think about that. Can you imagine the savaging publicly every effing day of your life for 4.5 years, and still you get up in the morning and you go out and you have a rally like this and you keep fighting? That's why this man is worth fighting for. That's why this country is worth fighting for.
Can't accept.
Stop the steal.
Well, the Democrats did try to steal the presidency. They're trying like hell. Do you ever notice the fake news?
Yeah, I noticed the fake news.
The first thing they want to do, John Kerry, great negotiator, the first thing they want to do is they want to bring back the Paris Accord, Environmental Accord, which will cost us. That was designed to destroy the United States.
It was.
The second thing they want to do is let's give Iran billions of dollars. Oh, they're so happy. Iran would have been in my office in the first hour after we won the election to make a deal.
Yep. And it's kind of interesting because Joe Biden is doing exactly what the opposite of what we brought Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. for. And thanks to the UK Daily Mail for the clips, by the way. To drain the swamp. And Biden is filling it up again with John effing Kerry, who's been in Washington longer than Biden and has never gotten anything right at all. He's bringing in these old, tired statists. His plan for the economy is going to raise taxes, and he's going to do infrastructure. And he's going to do the Green New Deal. What is the operative word there? New Deal. 1929, kids. It's all they've ever had in their quiver. It's all they've ever had. They look to Roosevelt coming out of the Depression, which he helped delay the Depression. The only thing that got us out of the Depression was World War II. And yet they're going to do a Green New Deal. 90-year-old failed ideology, and they're going to fill up the swamp again. Unbelievable. Hey, Chuck, how you doing? And Lisa, so glad that you are watching me today. People watching all over the place. Here's the president going after the governor of Georgia, who is a soft rhino. So is the AG.
Let it happen. Your governor could stop it very easily.
Yep.
If he knew what the hell he was doing, he could stop it very easily. Hundreds of thousands of illegal votes were cast in each state.
Yep.
Far from, you look at this, hundreds of thousands more than we needed were cast in every state we're talking about, not only here, but Michigan, Pennsylvania.
Yep. Pretty much. Thank you, UK Daily Mail. Here the president is talking about Dominion voting machines, which, by the way, are under, they are being analyzed in, 22 of them are being analyzed in Arizona, as I mentioned earlier. Here he is about the Dominion voting machines and what a scam they are.
Right now, Dominion is a joke, okay?
Yep.
Not a very funny joke. It's a disgrace that in 2020, no state in America even makes any real attempt to verify that those who cast ballots by mail are eligible and lawfully registered voters. The evidence of fraud is overwhelming, and again...
And by the way, Europe got rid of mail-in voting years and years and years ago because they knew it was a massive scheme. And yet, in the runoff election, Democrats have mailed off 675,000 mail-in ballots. Stacey Abrams' group, which, by the way, is under investigation, a good part of that, she actually, to the I think it was the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, sent 3 registrations to his dead son from her group. That person in government, PIG, needs to go to jail.
I'm going to ask you to look up at that very, very powerful and very expensive screen. I do this for a few people. Let's go.
Watch this. I
love it when he want transparency.
Loves this. I love
what
this.
He saw is what we revealed to you last night on this program, what appears to be...
That would be my buddy Grant Stinchfield on Newsmax.
Atlanta, Georgia ballot counters being told to leave the counting room, then a short time later, with no observers, with no media, hidden cases of possible ballots.
By the way, this has not been debunked. Everybody's saying it's been debunked. The UK Daily Mail said it's been debunked. My son sent me that article. Oh, yeah, it's been debunked. This has not been debunked.
Or rolled out from under a table. 4 people, under a cloud of suspicion, begin what looks an awful lot like ballot stuffing.
Has not been debunked.
And the media did pack up and leave at 11:15, but there weren't observers there at that time, and there was no announcement made for anyone to leave.
Now, wait a second here. That is disheveled Fulton County Elections Chief Richard Barron, but he doesn't have the facts right. The video proves it. At 10:40 p.m., not 11:15, 10:40, the media is packing.
By the way, that guy, he's a major anti-Trumper. He has been tweeting for years about how much he hates Donald Trump and wants him defeated.
Up a half hour before he thinks they leave. You can see them putting on their jackets there. And by 10:56, they are long gone. 10:40, the media has sworn witness testimony, claiming an announcement was most certainly made. In fact, even CNN reported the counting was being shut down due to a water main break.
No water main break.
Even election administrators now acknowledge was a leaky toilet. So someone had to tell those people to leave. And if you look at this table, there are ballots in boxes open and ready for counting. Now watch as they get packed up. Why would you need to secure them and then ultimately take out the mysterious ballots from under the table to start counting? Yeah. It just doesn't add up.
No.
Elections board member Dr. Kathleen Ruth shows her.
You know why? Because we're not stupid, okay? Because we are not stupid. Let me get rid of that real quick. I was tweeting on another page. Okay, here is, this is kind of cool. This is actually, and I got a little bit more on that, by the way. And again, it has not been debunked. And yes, Stitchfield does rock. He's a really good guy. He's a really good guy. Lisa says, Rob, who is that commentator that last night that gave credit to Stacey Abrams? No clue. No idea. No idea. See my hat? Eat, drink, happy. It's a haircut day because I just got out of bed and I said, hey, I want to put the hat on. This is kind of a nice shot of the massive crowd. Literally 10 people would go see Joe Biden, even fewer for Kamala Harris. This is last night, and this was wonderful.
For the last 4 years, David Perdue has been one of the toughest fighters for our America First agenda in Washington.
Yeah, this is him talking. I apologize. The other cut is coming up. This is him talking about American First and what the hell is wrong with America First. We live in a very cruel world where a lot of people want to kill you and your children and take our real estate, okay? That's the way it is. So putting America First actually keeps you around.
And David saw this.
If you think China wants to hug you, you're wrong. They want to kill you.
Did you see last week? China said...
Did you notice the virus thing? Just thought you should know.
China doesn't like me too much. They pay us billions and billions. That never happened. Billions and billions of dollars in tariffs. And they pay it. They devalued their currency. They paid a lot of money. They don't like me. The happiest people in the world right now are the leaders of China. The second happiest are the leaders of Iran.
Because they both think that Donald Trump lost. We know better.
What we would have done in the next 4 years, we would have been...
What you're going to do, sir?
...on a footing like nobody's ever, and now we're giving it all away. But China said, we will not deal with you unless you get rid of the America First policy.
Wow.
And you know what the Democrats said?
They gave it up like it wasn't even, it was like a cheap prom dress.
They
just right off.
Said, yes, we will do that. Can you believe this? And that's when I realized what a brilliant name that is. You know, we come up with some good ones, but that's a good one. We came up with plenty of good ones, haven't we? Some of them I won't use because some of those people are now friends of mine, but we came up with some good ones. But America first. And I looked at Melania a week ago and I said, can you believe it? They are saying that they don't agree with America first. How do you say that? I mean, how do you say it? We don't agree with America first. We agree with China. Yes, we will get rid of America first policy. I think, David, you don't like that too much, right?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There's a little bit more of the president.
Ossoff will be a complete tool for the radical left.
Talking about John Ossoff, not his father, Jack Ossoff.
Donors who are trying to buy Georgia's Senate seats. Do you see the money these people have raised?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, it's very, well, of course, I just raised $250 million. And I should,
yeah, since he won the election.
I didn't raise it. It just I said, how are we doing on that front? You know, because we didn't get great publicity. Boy, they were so happy, these guys. You might not be happy in a few weeks, you know. You
Let's watch that again. That's kind of cool. Go ahead.
These guys. You might not be happy in a few weeks, you know. You might not.
There you go. All right. Now, here is the patriotic crowd without the president speaking. And, it speaks volumes because Joe Biden, again, couldn't get 10 people at his rallies, socially distanced, and Kamala Harris couldn't get them either. Oh, there was a really funny slogan for Biden-Harris. It's knee pads and pee pads. I thought that was funny. I'm thinking they mean it. I mean, they literally mean it. It's 1776 all over again, kids. All right. Let's take a minute. This is something interesting from. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Oh, hold on.
Obviously,
hold on.
You are done as far as your
talking about what's really happening in Georgia.
GOP future is concerned. You may as well quit politics altogether or run on the other side. This is a critical issue because it's not just about one election, it's about all elections.
Keep going.
I want to talk about it. And then, mysteriously, suitcases of ballots. Think about this for a minute. Since when are ballots stored in suitcases? But suitcases of ballots that were apparently concealed or kept under a desk are then pulled out. And a handful of poll workers...
Dinesh D'Souza, dear Lord. Okay, now watch.
...observed by no one start scanning those and counting them and including them. And I don't know how this was recorded, but as far as I know, no one has questioned the authenticity of the video.
Well, a few liberal publications have. The other ones just avoided it altogether. Didn't share it at all.
And no explanation has been provided for what's going on here.
Thank
or
you.
Why things are being done in this way. So you see...
Oh, well, I think the explanation is fairly obvious.
To have a...
Again, if you aren't separated from common sense, which I believe that most Democrats aren't so separated they can't see that some stealing and some cheating happened, but they're separated from decency.
Smoking gun case of flagrant cheating. And this is coming on top of all the other evidence of affidavits, illegal votes cast by people who don't live in the district, people who have left the state.
Dead people.
Dead people voting, mail-in ballots not being checked, and on and on and on. The potential manipulability of the machines, and the evidence is now on various websites. It's collated. It's all in one place. You can easily find it, and it is cumulatively quite crushing.
Okay. Here is Congressman Hice on the voting that was caught, the ballot stuffing that happened in Atlanta.
Well, joining us now to discuss the allegations of election fraud.
Let's move forward just a little bit.
Republican Congressman Hice.
She has been involved in, number one, claiming that she never lost. But from that, she has been screaming all sorts of voter fraud and that she was going to correct the problem. And she has corrected it with the greatest voter fraud, perhaps in the history of our nation.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got to get to the bottom of this.
Yes.
It's a disgrace. Again, if we lose the integrity of the voter box in the United States, we ultimately lose our republic.
It can't happen.
This is not something that we can brush under the carpet. This is something that must be investigated and must be confronted head on.
Let's talk about the ballot stuffing.
So, Congressman, it sure looks like it's being brushed under the rug. The media's not reporting on this video that we've been showing of ballot boxes coming out from underneath tables. I showed one woman earlier in the program who appears to be running through ballots 2-3 times. Now, I can't say for sure what they're doing, Congressman, but shouldn't they be at least...
But hundreds of other people who have sworn and testified, not in court, but they have under possible prosecution for lying.
He's interviewed by...
They saw it.
Detectives or FBI agents, and nothing's happening, and they're going to go ahead and certify this.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I've spoken to an individual in the Georgia State Legislature who was in this thing in the hearing yesterday. He's watched the entire video, and the sequence is this: at about 8:30 a.m., that big long black table that you see there was brought into the room.
Listen to this.
Put the black skirting was put around it, and the suitcases, boxes were put underneath it. They go all day long until at about 10:30 p.m. when the so-called water main break occurs. A lady comes to the middle of the room, and
no water main break took place. That's easy to prove and has been proven.
All the Republican poll watchers are told, evidently it's silent, but you can assume by watching it, they're told to leave the room, which they do. That's at 10:30 p.m. At 10:40. All these.
And by the way, in cities around the country, Republican poll watchers were not only told to leave, they were threatened. Their view was blocked. There's only one reason for that. There's only one reason for that. You're not so separated from common sense that anybody wouldn't see what was going on there. And if you are, dear God, just check yourself into an assisted living community.
The folks left in the room go back to that black table, pull out all the suitcases.
Like Joe Biden will when he ultimately loses the election.
Cases out from underneath it with apparently tons of ballots. They start going to the ballot counting machines and start cramming them in there. And what you must understand, this is unbelievable. These machines are capable of counting 3,000 ballots per hour. There were multiple machines in there, and and
a voting spike resulted that is easily proven.
2 hours
in all of the battleground states.
They run these ballots through machines.
Here's the most important question for you to wrap this up. You got the Secretary of State's office. He's supposed to be a Republican. You got the governor. Governor Kemp, who said, oh, well, now check the...
They're rhinos.
...signatures. What about he says, oh, this is concerning, this stuff. What do you do in your position to put pressure on these guys to stop this in its tracks and get to the bottom of it?
But we keep throwing as much gas on the fire as we possibly can, and I'm all for signature verification. That needs to happen with the signatures that are actually on the...
That's fine, but you need to see these machines.
Voter registration file that match to the signatures on the ballots. But you absolutely cannot afford to sweep under the rug a bombshell video that evidently is showing in broad light for everyone to see how fraud is taking place.
We're not stupid. Okay? We're not stupid. Real quick, see these up here? These are designs on T-shirts, on hoodies, on mugs, on whatever. Got about 80 different designs that are really funny. Super Spreader, that's a new one. America's Supremacist, that one. Fake News about Fox News. A Party Like It's 1776. All of these are available on this site right here. I'll post them on Facebook, Parler. Just go to my Parler page, look at the front page. It's right there. Click on it and do some Christmas shopping. You got to get it right. If you want to buy Christmas, you're going to have to order it right away. But there are some really funny, politically incorrect designs that are absolutely hilarious. I've written most of them. My friend Sam Cangelosi, he did all the designs for me. So we are in this together. It helps out, and it's starting to really build. So if you would just grab the link off of my Parler page, my MeWe page, my Facebook page for now, my MAGA book page, and just share it with others. Just say, hey, or just order something. It would be really just People are just now discovering these designs because people are just now discovering me and my show. I know. I'm not like 25 years old, but I'm a fresh face in talk radio. Isn't that weird? It's kind of weird. Here is Fox News talking to Jenny Beth Martin about the video of the devil going down to Georgia and stealing ballots.
They're telling you different stories. What information are you getting?
Well,
even Fox News knows.
Know for certain that on election night, Fulton County, Georgia, which is where they were counting votes in State Farm Arena, they said publicly that they were going to stop counting votes at 10:30. So sometime around 10 o'clock, 10:15, there are contemporaneous news reports that say they are going to stop counting votes at 10:30. The media left, the poll watchers left, the public observers who are allowed and legally entitled to observe the count.
Why did they make the observers go? Why did the observers have to go? Again, it's obvious if you're not separated from common sense. But if you are a Democrat, you are separated from common decency.
Canvassing of votes all left. After all of those people left, the counting began again, and these boxes were pulled out from underneath a table, and they were used. I don't know exactly what they were doing. You can look at the video and
there were votes for Joe Biden, and they had no down ticket voting because that happened all over the country.
Figure it out for yourself. But if they were scanning ballots at all during that time after they told the public to leave and that they would resume counting the next morning, they were violating state law.
Yeah, you need to go home, turn off the lights, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. But no, 4 little elves stayed there and counted ballots all night long.
You're supposed to give the public notice, and the public is allowed and entitled to
And a vote spike for Joe Biden happened in the early morning hours.
Observe the counting of votes and the canvassing of votes.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, we get it. I want to move on real quick here because there's a couple things I want to mention. With regard to COVID and COVID-19 and shutting down the country and destroying people's lives, and how people are beginning to fight back in California. People are fighting back all over the place. I was able to go to the gym this morning. For some stupid, inane reason, I have to wear a mask going in and leaving the gym, but I don't need to wear it inside. So fortunately here where I live, people aren't bat crap crazy about COVID, and there's no reason why they should be, because according to Johns Hopkins University, a study that was just presented last week and taken down immediately, the death rate in America, the number of deaths in America have not risen from 2019 to 2020, even in the senior population. Yeah. And by the way, if the COVID crisis were blowing up all over the country, including New York and California almost all shut down, outdoor dining done, why haven't they asked for a hospital ship? Why hasn't New York asked for a hospital ship? Why hasn't New York set up a convention center hospital? Because none of them were used when the virus originally came out and there was a massive explosion of virus. Why is Governor Cuomo not screaming for ventilators? We need thousands and thousands of ventilators. Do you know how many ventilators were manufactured that were never used because it was a lie? Businesses started building ventilators. Even that My Pillow company started making masks, or something that wasn't needed. Something wasn't needed. It was a lie. We know that since the election, since Donald Trump has not conceded, the country needs to shut down. Joe Biden says we're going to have to wear a mask 100 days after he is elected. Some people are saying you're going to have to wear a mask all next year. Joe Biden is saying you can't go anywhere for Christmas. You should not go anywhere for Christmas. It is your patriotic duty to put a mask on and stay home. It is your patriotic duty to shut down your restaurant. It is your patriotic duty to go out of business. It is your patriotic duty to starve and not pay your electric bill. It's your patriotic duty, according to the Democrats and Joe Biden. You can't have Christmas. Something interesting happened yesterday. I heard from a friend of mine at work. He went to a store, and he said that all the Christmas decorations were sold out. We aren't going to let Christmas be stolen. No, we're not. And one of the main pieces of evidence why we know that this COVID crisis, this explosion in coronavirus infections and deaths supposedly is happening one of the main reasons we know it's fake is because Democrats across the country are issuing edicts and breaking them. Gavin Newsom went to a friend's 50th birthday party in a closed environment, sitting next to 22 people, a $15,000 bar tab for hours next to one another, no social distancing and no masks. Either he has a death wish or he doesn't believe the shit he preaches. It's number two. Here is the mayor of Austin, Texas, and he is saying you should not go out. You should not go out because coronavirus is going to kill you. The problem is he did this video in Mexico. He was on vacation with his family for his daughter's honeymoon.
Other people involved, but if we don't have that information...
Here we go. Start it again.
Hi, Steve Adler. So, not got a minute in the traditional sense, kind of a pre-recorded message. Talk a little bit about...
This is in Cabo.
The numbers, a little bit about what's going on in the city. Let's begin with the numbers, and the numbers are going up. Maybe getting a little bit more concerning than they have been in the past. Still not in a red zone yet, but something we can see potentially happening. I
hear the kids playing in the background.
That because a number of
when are we going to the beach, Grandpa?
Cases yesterday, 26. The 7-day moving average up to 25.
Let's move up.
We're getting into number of hospitalizations and trying to answer why that is. It looks still like younger people seem to be the new cases. Younger people don't end up in hospitals. The concern is the younger people will spread it to older.
They don't actually.
People, and they will. And in fact, the number of people in our isolation facilities a week ago was 19, and this week...
Come on, Grampy, let's go to the beach.
It looks like it's going to be north of 40.
Let's move forward.
Relaxed and we're around people. Let's hope that that's minimized. We should know more within the next week about whether we have a Halloween bump in new cases and whether that...
Oh, yeah, Halloween's going to kill everybody.
Goes back down. But virus is still with us. Pfizer today said that they think they have a vaccine. Preliminary indications are...
Well, there are 3 vaccines now. They're 95% effective.
It's more effective than the measles vaccine. But it hasn't been, the studies are not out yet. They have not been peer reviewed, so we're still early in the process.
Mm-hmm. Keep going from Cabo.
More unlikely that we're going to have anything distributed in December, but maybe beginning for first responders, January, February. And that's a good thing, I hope. Still some legal battles, but my hope is that President-elect Biden, Vice President-elect Harris, will move forward, pulling together their administration.
Who the hell watches this dope?
Top folks, we need some serious and hopefully nonpartisan conversations about what to do.
Who set up this shot? What the hell?
About the virus. And in our community, we need conversations about homelessness and about policing. We're all united in the belief that nobody should be sleeping in tents.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. So anyway... He said to basically people need to hunker down. They can't have Christmas. The typical Democrat talking points. Here he is after he got exposed, which is common for Democrats to expose themselves. Exposed in Cabo, telling people to stay home and not travel.
Now, I've been in the news today. The first week of November, my daughter got married here in Austin, and like many other.
Now here he's coming up with a bunch of excuses here. And then he's going to give you the money shot.
She had to cancel her original plans in order to follow the rules.
Who cares?
And instead, she had a small, mostly family, very private wedding. So
were there masks and social distancing?
Were
you from the same household?
Beautiful. The wedding was beautiful.
Who cares?
And intimate. And most importantly, she was happy.
Who cares?
Afterwards, a small, mostly family group traveled to Mexico.
Yeah, that's traveling, which you have said people shouldn't do.
I want you to know that I regret that travel.
F you. It's too late.
I wouldn't travel now. I didn't over Thanksgiving.
Bullshit. This is exactly what Gavin Newsom said.
And I won't over...
You got caught.
...for Christmas. And no one should. Everyone should be avoiding non-essential travel now because we're in the orange area.
Screw you.
Now, I fear that the travel that I did, which took place during a safe.
Oh, now he's going to play victim like I might have caught it.
For period, followed the color-coded rules, could lead to some taking riskier behavior now. I recognize that my travel set a bad example. I recognize.
No, I think you just as a mayor, as a human being, set a bad example.
That the fact that I took that trip and at the same time was continuing to urge people to be cautious.
You're a lying sack of shit.
Is confusing.
No.
I know that.
It's not confusing at all. It's not confusing at all. This is what Democrats do. They live by a different standard. You are the bourgeois. They are the proletariat. They live by a different set of rules. And by the way, they also think that coronavirus is a joke. They just want you shut in and shut down.
Have chosen.
They want you helpless.
Not to travel under the same circumstances.
You know what really sucks for Democrats is that we have the ability to communicate now. I mean, 30 years ago when people only had a phone line, no internet, no cell phone, no ability to access information from a number of sources. It wouldn't go so much to Google because they do censor the hell out of things. They censor what you see. They really do. They really do. They censor what you see, and they line up the first page of stories. If you try to look for anything bad about the Democrats, it always comes up as stories. The first page, debunked. Everything's been debunked. Everything's been debunked. You know, we saw this. There's this player for the Las Vegas Raiders now, and he said that he got tested every day. And I have the video clip. I don't have it anymore. Every day he gets tested for COVID, and the Las Vegas Health Department called him and said, "Hey man, you tested positive for COVID." He said, "That's impossible. I get tested every day and I'm fine." And they backtracked and they said, "I'm sorry, please keep this between you and us. It was a mistake. You try to find that guy, you try to find anything about him, you Google it, you will not find that video. You will not find it. It will send you off in other directions about football players testing positive, but it will not show you that video. Do not trust Google. Do not trust them at all. They are choosing what you see. The allegory of the cave. They just show you the shadow on the wall. They don't show you the reality. They don't. Anyway, this is kind of this is Rick Santelli. He's a truth teller on what is he on, the MSN or MSN, whatever the hell. Anyway, he got into a heated debate about wearing masks because he's right. And Andrew Ross Sorkin, he has three names, so you know he's a punk. Andrew Ross Sorkin offered some pushback on wearing masks and the difference between big box stores and a restaurant. And, of course, Pete Santelli, he was the man using common sense, and this other doofus just throw words like science, it's science, and he's wrong.
Rick, I just wanted to just highlight something that...
Move forward here a little bit.
The fact that I think many of these governors are intelligent people and they love their families, which they've taken out into restaurants. Therefore, there is actually and should be an ongoing debate as to, why a parking lot for a big box store like by my house is jam-packed. Not one parking spot open. Why are those people any safer than a restaurant with plexiglass? I just don't get it. And I think there's a million of these questions that could be asked, and I think it's really sad that when we look at the service sector and all the discussions we've had about job losses, that particular dynamic isn't studied more, isn't worked more.
Why aren't there hundreds of Walmart workers dying of COVID? Why aren't there thousands of Target workers dying of COVID? Are you kidding me? What about Home Depot? What about Lowe's? And yet there's not a single case that can be traced to dining outside. And they shut down restaurants, they shut down indoor dining, and now in places like California, even outdoor dining. Churches, concerts. You still go to the grocery store. You still buy a car.
We don't put more people in a room and try to figure out ways so that these service sector employees and employers could all come back in a safer way. You can't tell me that shutting down, which is the easiest answer, is necessarily the only answer.
He's right.
Rick, I just as a public health and public service.
Here comes the how do I say this? Dickless little fop
announcement for the audience The difference
Wait,
between
first
a
of all,
big
who
box
is this?
retailer.
Who is this?
Hold on. The difference between it's Andrew.
Who else?
The difference between a big box retailer. Hold on. The difference between a big box retailer and a restaurant, or frankly, even a church, are so different. It's unbelievable. Going into a big box retailer,
I disagree.
You're wearing
You can
a mask.
have your thoughts, and I can have mine.
You're required to wear a mask.
I disagree.
It's science. I'm sorry.
There you go. He just uses the it's science. You a-hole. You little prickless fop. Tell me, give me one example. Give me one example of somebody getting sick from church. Okay? Give me one example of somebody who died from going to a church service. Give me one example. Have you been to a big box store lately? Have you been to Costco when it's full of people? You, sir, are so ungodly wrong. Rick, please, chew his ass out.
It's science. If you're
It's
wearing a
not
mask,
science.
it's a different story.
500 people in a Lowe's aren't any safer than 150 people in a restaurant that holds 600. I don't believe it.
This little moron, he just used it's science.
Sorry. Don't believe
Okay.
it. And I live in an
you
area
don't-
where there's a lot
You are wrong, sir.
of restaurants that have fought back and they don't have any problems. And they're open.
Okay, you don't have to believe it, but let me just say this. You're doing a
I don't,
disservice
and
to
I
the
won't.
viewer because the viewers need to understand it.
You are doing a disservice
Yes.
to the viewer. You are. You are.
Idiot. You idiot. I'm glad that Rick Santelli went after you. He has been a truth teller for a very long time. He's the only person on CNBC pretty much with a modicum of common sense. Here is the Riverside sheriff in California saying that he will not enforce the edicts of the government, of the governor, telling people they cannot go out, telling people they cannot dine outside. Let's have a little bit from the sheriff. We're going to wrap things up in a few minutes.
Hello, I'm Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. We have all recently learned of the new regional approach to combating COVID-19 and the pending closure and stay-at-home orders from our governor. We were also told there was a potential he would be withholding federal and state funding from counties who did not enforce the orders. Ironically, it wasn't that long ago our same governor loudly and publicly argued how wrong it was for the President of the United States to withhold federal funding from states not complying with federal laws.
Nice point.
The dictatorial attitude toward California residents while dining in luxury, traveling, keeping his business open, and sending his kids to in-person private schools is very telling about his attitude toward California residents, his feelings about the virus, and it is extremely hypocritical.
I love this guy.
These closures and stay-at-home orders are flat out ridiculous. The metrics used for closures are unbelievably faulty and are not representative of true numbers and are disastrous for Riverside County.
Did you hear that, you little Andrew Ross Sorkin on MSN or whatever the hell it is?
When the medical field
CNBC
is so split about this virus, it might be time to employ a little common sense.
Common sense? Common sense isn't common anymore.
Keeping money and support from our hospitals who are struggling with normal, seasonal increases in patients, coupled with COVID-19 patients, is irresponsible. It appears part of the new goal is to shift attention away from his and others' personal behavior
Yes.
with a do as I say, not as I do attitude by turning public opinion against California sheriffs.
Yep.
He is expecting us to arrest anyone violating these orders, cite them and take their money, close their businesses, make them stay in their homes, and take away their civil liberties, or he will punish all of us.
We got a new hero here, kids.
I believe that all jobs are essential to someone. Leaders do not threaten, attempt to intimidate, or cause fear.
Yep.
Bullies do.
Yep.
As has been our position from the beginning of this pandemic, the Sheriff's Department is asking and expecting Riverside County residents to act responsibly and do what they can to protect themselves and their family from contracting the virus.
So basically saying we're not gonna enforce your rules, so suck it. There you go. There you go. All right, before I go, I want to share one little piece of comedy that I shared on my Rumble page this morning. It's pretty funny. I don't know where it's from. My friend Felix gave it to me. He gave me this. It is apparently a Australian comedian, and it's one of the funnier pieces of satire I've seen in a while. It basically encapsulates 2020 as a horse race. So we're going to wrap things up with this. Check it out.
Because it's a shit show.
Let's start it here.
Well, welcome to the US Presidential Election Cup, and what a year it's been for America. With voter suppression, rioting and court rulings, it really is the nation that stops a race. Let's have a look at the field. First up, Fox News. Trainer Rupert Murdoch was always going to field this workhorse. He'll start in gate 1, out on the far right. Look for him to stay in the background and control the field from there. Next up, the reigning champion, the Donald. What a magnificent horse, a tremendous horse. Nobody knows more about being a horse than the Donald. In gate 3, it's Sleepy Joe. He's the oldest horse to ever compete in this race. Stablemate to former champion stallion, Yes We Can. He was destined for the glue factory, but now a clear front runner. In gate 4, COVID, the Chinese mare. Look out for her. She's been a threat all year, as has a global recession in gate 5. Postal votes will jump from gate 6 and could determine the outcome of this race. Gate 7, hopes and dreams are unlikely to feature strongly. Same goes for climate crisis in gate 8. In gate 9, Supreme Court, a controversial late entry 6 days out. And in gate 10, the possibility of civil war. The old mare Democracy is still in contention, but she will be ridden heavily by controversial obese jockey Electoral College. And rounding out the field are Open Warfare, Dr. Fauci, and It's a Shit Show. And they're boxed and ready. I don't know if that was a starter pistol or an armed rioter in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter because they are off and racing. Hopes and dreams in a good position early. So too Democracy. Just back from Democracy is the Donald and COVID going stride for stride. And Sleepy Joe is still bunkered down in his gate. A bizarre tactic from the veteran. No, wait, he's now on his way. Further back in the pack, It's a Shit Show with a global recession, climate crisis, and the possibility of civil war. Just behind them, Dr. Fauci is in a losing battle with COVID. And a couple of lengths back is postal votes being undermined. And at the rear, Open Warfare. As we enter the first debate, the Donald has bucked his Republican jockey, trying to rein him in. He's bucked him right off, and all of a sudden, Sleepy Joe is looking strong and dependable without doing anything particularly inspiring. Dr. Fauci is trying to get on top of COVID now, but the Donald is in the way. He has ditched his bridle mid-race. He's refusing to wear anything on his face. Bold move, but it's working. The Donald is catching up to COVID. Catching. The Donald has caught COVID. Now It's a Shit Show getting near them both. Dr. Fauci tries to slip past the Donald, but Open Warfare gets in the way. It's Open Warfare between Dr. Fauci and the Donald now. Incredible stuff. And back in the pack now, we have Supreme Court blocking postal votes with support from Fox News. The Donald is rallying hard, and they are all ganging up on Democracy. Oh no, Democracy has taken a nasty fall. The Electoral College is riding Democracy hard into the ground. It's literally flogging a dead horse. As they turn into the second and last debate, COVID, that's all anybody is talking about. It's rounding the corner, but it's not slowing down as predicted. If anything, it's accelerating. Sleepy Joe is slipping away. Wait a second, I don't believe it. A former champion has entered the race. Yes, we can. He's pushing Sleepy Joe toward the finish line, but it's the Donald making a late charge, leading the Supreme Court into the home straight, followed by the possibility of civil war. Fox News just behind them, almost willing them home. COVID is spreading the field. That'll encourage a global recession. Hopes and dreams have dropped off badly, as has climate crisis, who I'd forgotten about completely. Postal votes is making a late charge, but will it get there on time? There's only seconds left. It's Sleepy Joe and the Donald. They're neck and neck. The Donald is claiming victory before he's crossed the finish line. Sleepy Joe being a little more cautious, but either way, it doesn't matter because It's a Shit Show is first past the post. That's right, It's a Shit Show is the clear winner in the US Presidential Cup. Congratulations to its owner, 2020, and the whole team behind It's a Shit Show. Oh, and news just in. Sadly, Democracy has broken down and will need to be euthanized. Children, look away. Thanks for joining us. What an unfulfilling race. See you again in 4 years.
That is, that's brilliant. I mean, you know, I just caught one, actually. It said that Yes We Can is pushing Uncle Joe. That's right before the election when Obama, the last 2 weeks, decided to do a commercial for him or whatever. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Thanks for joining me, guys. I do appreciate it. If you would, please subscribe to me on Rumble. And YouTube, preferably Rumble, because YouTube sucks. But anyway, you could win a freezer full of Wagyu beef from Hassel Cattle Company. Also, Pit Barrel Classic Cooker. And if you get a chance to, just go to hasselcattlecompany.com or pitbarrelcooker.com. Check out those great products because Christmas is coming. One person will win, so please subscribe. It's time for me to go. I got to go to work. And so hopefully I won't have to go to work very soon. Check out the T-shirts and stuff and the swag and the Parlor page, the Facebook page is going away, and the MeWe page is there. Whatever, just trying to reach people. That's all. God bless you guys. I really appreciate you joining me. Things are really happening. And by the way, for those of you watching live right now, my show is at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time on Newsmax. That's when it will air again. If you want to see archives of my show, go to newsmaxtv.com. Just look for Rob Carson's What in the World. Have a great day. God bless. See you soon.